Good morning. Welcome to the Bond Sunday morning services. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I absolutely appreciate it. You can get involved. Oh, I am Jesse Lee Peterson. You can get involved in this morning service by calling 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663, or email church@bondinfo.org, church@bondinfo.org, and put your name and town on your emails, folks, and we will take your calls, all right, and respond to your emails, whether it is a question, comment, or disagreement. I want to hear from you. Good morning to everybody here.
Good morning.
Good morning. You know, I want to talk about the spirit of fear. Fear. How many people have fear? You have fear. Okay. Good. I appreciate your honesty. And only 2 people here don't have fear. You guys don't have fear, right?
No,
You don't have fear.
not necessarily.
Okay. And you don't have fear either?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
No. And how did you overcome your fear? Because a lot of
Nothing
people
to overcome. There was nothing to overcome. I just deal with things as they come. I don't fear them.
You don't have any fear at all.
No, maybe a whimsical fear, but never where it sticks.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
always find a way around it as opposed to fearing it.
Okay. Good. And how about you? How did you overcome fear? Have you ever had fear?
Yeah, I had it, but, you just daily remind yourself of what the word says, that there is a remedy for fear, and it's faith in God, trust in Him.
Trust in God?
Right.
Oh, okay. So you overcame it by having faith in God?
Right.
Oh, okay. A lot of people have fear, and it's something that, and I deal with a lot of people across the country, you know, of all races, male and female, and I notice that they have fear, and then they say that they believe in God. And so I want to deal with that. You know, our theme this year is to endure. Do you realize this year is almost up?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? This year is almost up just like that. And I can't wait to hear. Before I get into that, the theme is endure. We have to endure. Are you guys enduring? If you're not, you better hurry up because the year will be up. Why you guys are thinking about doing it? Are you enduring?
Yes.
Did you know that was our theme for this year?
Yeah.
To endure. And what are you enduring?
I'm enduring fear. You know what we're talking about?
Good one.
It is.
That's a good one.
And what are you afraid of?
I mostly find myself afraid of dealing with people and having to be responsible. And I'm really, and I guess when I get beneath that, I'm scared of seeing the truth about myself through interacting with difficult circumstances with people. And I see that I'm not the person I thought I was, and all my excuses and rationalizations and my way I approach life. I'm seeing now that I made them complicated. It's very simple, and it's kind of embarrassing, you know. And and then I realized that I'm really not much at all. Like I don't have faith in all those things. So.
You realize you're not much at all?
Well, everything I thought I was, and everything
What did you think you were?
I thought I was right, and the world, and I thought it was other people's faults and the way and circumstances, and I would then sort of be a coward and justify my cowardliness. So what did you ask? I'm getting off.
You said
I just
you
don't
realized
want.
that you're not who you thought that you were.
Who did I think I
You
was?
gotta ask, who did you think you were?
I didn't think I was a coward, and now I see that I'm a coward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. What is your fear from? Yes. What type of fear do you have? I'm sorry.
Just being concerned that, how am I going to make it? How am I going to manage? Oh, what do I do? Those things
Oh, okay.
that are just like, they're like the superficial fear. I see them and then I go, well, there's nothing I can do. So you just keep going.
Oh, I see. So you're afraid that you're not going to make it in life.
Yeah, right. Like I never amounted to anything. I never did anything right. I'm just kind of like,
You
hear.
never amounted to anything.
Right,
Oh,
like I
okay.
hear and I never really made a difference to anyone or to myself, or I don't have the right attitude, you know, things like that.
Oh, okay. That's, a lot of people feel that way. And how about you? What's your fear?
Me?
Yes.
Fear of heights. I am. But I'm glad that everybody finds it so funny. No, but for instance, to give you an example, I was walking up, well, I don't know, it was about 2 or 3 years ago, taking a walk in the mountains, and there was the road, I mean, the trail was getting narrower and narrower, and there was a rock wall going straight down. And I was totally overcome with fear. But it was wide enough. I could have walked up there without any problems. But I was gripped with such a fear, I couldn't proceed anymore. I had to turn around and go back.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And how about you? What's your fear? What are you afraid of?
I think my fear is speaking up for the truth.
It is? And what made you afraid to speak up?
Because once you open that door and you say something, you know, actually the fear is how I'm going to react to what the other person's going to say.
Right.
That I'm not going to handle it right. Even though I might see something, I don't know how to, my ego gets involved, and I don't know how to just say it and let it be.
Is this with all people or just some people?
Most people,
Most people?
Yeah.
You're afraid of? Are you afraid of black people?
no.
I am. Well, if you're not afraid of black people, you shouldn't be afraid of anybody. No.
People are people.
Yeah. So why don't you see that with everybody?
What-
People are people.
People are people, and once you speak, if you say something, if you criticize somebody, that's it. They're on you.
Right.
So you got to be strong enough to endure it.
And you're not strong
And
enough. to
I'm
do it.
not.
Oh, okay.
I react.
How do you react?
I get really upset, you know, and I'm just really upset, and then I don't know how to speak in a calm way, and I've noticed that if I just accept negativity from somebody, I physically feel it. I did ever since I was a child. I get like a burning all over my body. I feel it. And so I have noticed that if I just, it's gotten a little better, because I noticed that if I just let that be and just, that's it,
Yeah.
and not go into something in my mind, it subsides.
Right. Very good point. So why don't you do that at all
Because
times?
I can't do it all the time, because somehow my mind just wants to say they're wrong, you know, they're
Right.
cruel, they're wrong. And then it goes on that track, and then I can't.
That's an interesting point. Very interesting. We're going to help you deal with that today.
Good.
What are you afraid of, Susan?
Kind of what she's saying, but I'm also I notice I'm just afraid to be myself.
And what is yourself?
I don't know, because I'm afraid to be it. No, but I notice I'm just afraid to stand up and give my opinion, or.
So you don't know what yourself is.
It's kind of buried there, yeah.
I'm sorry?
I kind of know, but then I doubt myself.
What do you kind of know?
What do I kind of know about myself?
Yeah,
Well, I noticed
your
that
real self.
I noticed that I'm very angry. I hate being criticized.
No, your real self.
My real self.
Oh, your real self hate being
Well, I
criticized?
noticed this week I was with this little old Asian lady. She was real harmless looking, and we were driving somewhere. And she started backseat driving. I got really angry at her. This lady, I thought.
I'm trying to figure out, you said that you're afraid to be,
My real self.
I'm trying to find out, you say you're afraid to be yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know who yourself is?
I don't know. I don't know because I'm afraid to let it come up. But I think I'm better than I used to be.
But I'm not getting how you're afraid to be yourself if you don't know who it is.
Oh, that's a good point.
So,
'Cause
what made
I'm
you,
afraid that I'm mean.
I'm
That
sorry?
I'm really mean. I'm really afraid that I'm mean.
oh, I see. So you
Because I
think,
have a
the,
lot of anger inside of me, and you know,
so you think
I-
the real self is a mean person,
yeah,
and you're afraid to be this mean person?
yeah.
Oh, I see. And why are you afraid to be the mean person?
Well, because it's not nice to be mean.
Who
I
said
don't
that?
like when people are mean to me.
Who said it's not nice to be mean?
My mom. No, I don't know. You know, people. I don't like it when people are mean. You know, cruelly mean.
So the real you is a mean person, and you don't want to be mean because
I
it's
think
not
I'm getting that way. I don't think I always was. But
okay. So the real self is not the mean person.
the real self. I don't know.
The real you is a mean person or not, and you're afraid to be.
I don't know.
Are you mean to Mary?
I don't think so, but she thinks so.
Oh. Are you nice to Mary?
Oh, I'm voting. Yeah, I'm nice.
Oh, okay. But you'd rather be mean.
No, I don't know. I'm gonna blow my nose now. I'm really bad.
Now you're being yourself.
Yeah.
What are you afraid of? You say, did you raise your hand that you have fear?
You talking to me?
Martin, no, I'm talking to him. Are you gonna be silly? I'm talking to you. You know that. You feel like being silly today or something?
Well, I'm on again, off again.
Did you raise your hand that you have fear?
I did, but I was just playing.
Did you raise your hand that you have fear?
Yes.
What is your fear?
Well, I've always had a tremendous fear that I wouldn't become a success, or I wouldn't make it,
Yeah.
or I wouldn't measure up. And, you know, now that I've made it big, just kidding. There is no make, really. I mean, I intellectualize the fact that I shouldn't have fear, that everything's okay, and fear does me no good. And then I realized that, you know, there's no reason to have fear. Intellectually, I understand that, and objective thinking tells me that, but when I get finished thinking about it, I go right back to being scared.
Afraid of not making it.
Even after everything is okay.
Yeah, I understand that.
I still operate with fear.
Okay.
You know, and it was an upbringing thing. That was part of it. My mother was terrified. She had so much fear, and every time she would make a decision and be an example, fear was the motivator of that decision. So it
Right.
was fear, 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 all the time. And so, and that's been just a tragedy of my life, is having fear.
Yeah, very good point. Most people fear come from their mothers, comes from the mother. It is, for the most part, it's a woman's identity. Women tend to have a lot of fear. So that's a real good point. Did you have your hand? Did you have your hand? Did I see your hand?
I did have my hand. I wanted to reiterate what my dad said about fear of heights. What's really ironic, Dad, is that you're...
Do you have fear of height?
I mean, I do a little bit, but not as intensely.
What's your fear?
Failure.
Failing.
Failing.
What do you mean, failing at what?
Failing at everything I do.
Oh,
I
okay.
have fear of failing, you know.
Amazing.
It's because I still have a wicked heart, And I see it right there because.
So you
I just
know
don't
why
want to-
you have fear?
That's why, that's right.
Because your heart is wicked.
Right.
And why do you have a wicked heart?
Because I just didn't want to let go. I just don't think I'm ready to let go of that yet.
Why
Just
not?
yet. It just doesn't feel like, I mean, even though I try to let go here, it's, the pain of it is, you know, I mean, you just can't get rid of it and stuff, you know. You have to like endure it until it just,
And so how do you know your heart is wicked?
because of my fear of failure.
Oh, so you put that together, that the reason I have
Yeah.
fear is because I have a wicked heart?
Correct.
And how's your heart wicked? In what way?
Well, it's because I just don't want to accept failure. That's basically it. That's what it is.
I mean, but your heart, how do you, I mean, when you say your heart is wicked, are you like mean to other people or conniving or dishonest or
No,
what?
that's
How
not,
are you wicked?
I'm not dishonest with other people,
Well, how's your heart wicked?
just like I told you. That's all I can tell you at that point.
Your heart is wicked because you have fear.
Fear of failure, yeah.
I don't know how you came up with your heart being wicked, and that's why you had a.
That's what came to me. It
In
just-
what way is your heart wicked?
Well, because anytime when I try to screw up, I get mad. You know, when I screw up and fail things and stuff, what I do, you know, be at work or play or other things or planning things and stuff,
Where did your fear of failure come from?
ever since I was born.
You had it when you were born?
Correct.
As a little kid?
Absolutely.
All your life you had the fear of failure?
Right.
As a kid, why were you concerned about failing or not? Most kids are not concerned about that.
Right. That's a good question. That's the thing that puzzles me the most, I find.
Oh, okay. How about you, Steph?
Yeah, I have fears.
What's your fear?
Like, sort of like speaking your mind. Like if you see somebody doing something wrong, you don't want to say anything because you don't want to be stoned to death or whatever.
Wow, where you hanging out at? Stoned.
You must be married. Are you afraid to speak up to your husband?
No, sometimes I'm like hesitant, yeah,
Why?
because I just don't want him to get mad at me or something like that.
Oh, so you hold back sometimes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. How about you, Pat? Do you have fear?
I fear speaking up to my wife.
I don't blame you. She will stone you.
Yeah, I mean, lately, not a lot of stuff comes to mind, but I do know that historically I've gotten into my head a lot about stuff, and it always brings on some type of worry and fear. They just go hand in hand.
Okay.
So, I don't know, lately I'm not doing that so much, and I notice that the fears and worries and things are not there because I'm not thinking about them.
Okay. How about you, sir? You have fear?
Yeah, tons of them, sure.
Tons-
The usual, I mean, fear of failure, fear of losing what I have, fear of walking into a meeting with my zipper open, whatever. I mean,
So your whole life is just filled with fear.
yeah, I mean, you can come up with, fear of embarrassment, fear of,
So how do you function?
like anybody else does. I don't think anybody else has that many, I don't think I have fears that others don't. I don't think it's that big a deal. I was joking about the meeting one, but, you do, frankly, fear does propel you. You can use fear to motivate yourself. You can use fear to think that you can stay in control of your life.
So you like having it then?
It seems, I look at it as a defense mechanism. It keeps me from screwing up, yeah.
Okay. And you agree with that?
Yeah, sometimes, well, the reason that I agree with him because I was an athlete, so I ran track, So you use that fear in the starting blocks to get your adrenaline going, to make you run faster.
Oh,
So
okay.
I agree with him on that aspect of it.
Oh, okay. So fear is good then in a sense.
Yeah, because it sometimes gets adrenaline going, I mean, you know, in that sense.
Right.
You know, you
Yeah, it
don't
does
wanna
get
lose
you-
the race. You're fearing losing,
Right.
and all that adrenaline starts pumping, and boom, there you go.
Okay. How about you? Do you have fear, Miss? Yes.
Well, I was just thinking about it. What came to my mind is I'm interested in buying and property.
Right.
And I'm a little fearful of getting stuck with it, or
So you want to
not
buy?
not working out.
You want to buy it to keep it or buy it to resell it?
To rent it and resell it later.
Oh, and you're afraid that it will not work out?
Yeah, but you know, it's so funny you would talk about fear because I was like, I've been thinking about that, how you have to get over that in order
Yeah.
to do anything.
Right.
'Cause it'll stop you.
And why haven't you gotten over it?
Well, I'm working on it. I am getting over it.
Do you know how to get over it?
Let it go.
So why haven't you let it go then? That's all to it.
Well, I'm just telling myself now I'm letting it.
All right. How about you, sir? You have fear?
I'm going to agree with the gentleman. I think fear is a good thing, and it can be used in several ways. It depends on how you control it, or let it control you.
And so you have fear?
I think everybody in this room. Do you have fear?
No, I'm asking you right now. I'll
I'm
answer that in
asking
a
you a
minute.
question.
No,
Do
I'm going
you
to get to
have
that in a minute. Do you have it?
I guess I'm just like everyone else in this room with fear.
Is that a yes or no?
It's however you want to take it.
I don't want to take it anyway. I'm just asking, do you have fear?
I'm just like everyone else in this room. That's how I'm answering your question. Now, that may not be the way you want me to, but that's the way I'm answering it.
I'm not looking for a certain way. I'm just
Okay,
asking,
then
do you
you're
have it?
satisfied with my answer then?
How about you? Do you have it?
Yes.
And what are you afraid of?
Death.
I'm sorry?
Death.
Death. Really? And why are you afraid of death at such a young age? How old are you?
I'm 25.
Really? Why are you afraid of death at 25? A lot of young people are not afraid of death.
Because it can be taken away from you anytime by anybody.
Your life can be taken away?
Yeah, and you have no control.
Well, you don't have control, that's for sure. But a lot of times you just see old people like me worried about death. You know, wondering you're gonna make it through the night. You know? Lord, if I don't make it through the night, forgive me for my sins. Death, okay. Are you afraid of death too? That's why you're shaking your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, how old are you?
16.
Really? And so you think about death?
Sometimes when I get into certain situations.
Oh yeah? Like what, for example?
Well, maybe me and my friends are hanging out, and then a group of gangbangers will be walking by banging on us. And I'll think.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So it's like out of situations that can happen, but in a normal life, you don't just think about dying.
No.
You don't think about. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Where do fear come from? Where do you think fear come from? And I'm asking you guys this because I don't just want to preach at you. I want you to think for yourself. Where do you think fear come? Where did your fear come from?
When I talk about the fear of screwing up and all that, it comes from pride.
No. So, where did it
I don't-
originate from?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
I don't know.
Yes, ma'am.
I know my fear comes from not trusting in God, because like I said, I'm afraid to speak up. But it's like I'm not there yet, so I don't know if it's the time to speak up or it's not, and so I don't do it because I don't trust. I know if I have faith in God and know that He would take care of me or whatever, or He'll let me know when to speak up or when not to. Like I don't have that yet.
Oh, okay. How many people think that they have fear because they don't have faith in God? Just you think that it's because you don't have faith in God? Where did you get that from? That it's because you don't have faith in God?
I can kind of see that, I think. I think it's that you don't know yourself, but I think there's a similarity between knowing yourself and having faith. And I just sense that.
You just said that. And, yes.
Um,
You think it's because you don't have faith in God?
I think it's because of doubt. Doubting. that-
So doubt means that you don't have faith in God?
Right, yeah.
And so you think you have fear because you don't have faith in God?
Right.
I can't hear you.
Right.
It's not a test. This
No,
is a
I know it's not a
fellowship.
test.
Relax.
But I'm
And
thinking
let's
about-
edify one another here, all
I'm
right?
thinking
It's not a
about it.
test.
I'm thinking about it, yeah, it has to be, you doubt that, you know, God cares for you, so then you have fear, I guess. Yeah, yes.
And how'd you come up with that?
How did I come up with that?
Yes.
Just my mind.
Your mind told you that?
Yeah, my mind told me that. I didn't come up with it. It's
So
just
your
like,
mind said, you have fear because you doubt God.
yeah, because you doubt that.
And you believed your mind.
Well, it's not that I believe it. It's sometimes I believe it and sometimes I don't. You know, most of the time I think, oh well, I'm going to be fine. I don't worry about it. Then
Right.
sometimes the doubt will come in and say, oh no, you're gonna, you're no good. God's not.
So sometimes you believe in God and sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes
you-
you have the faith, and sometimes faith wanes, and sometimes it comes back.
Patrick, I'm loving this. You know I'm loving this, right? Patrick? Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So your fear is because you have doubt too in
No,
God?
my fear comes from not listening to my conscience.
How do you know that?
That's how I feel. I mean, that's what I think it's from. I think if I listen to my conscience and if that I wouldn't have any fear. I think
I'm sorry?
that I wouldn't have any fear.
If you listen
if
to
I
your
was
conscience.
saved. Yeah,
How did you come up with that?
I don't know.
You know what's interesting? Christians have a lot of saying that are not true.
That's not
You gotta mind about that.
It's just so many things that are not true that Christians believe. Like this one, for example. Yes, sir.
I don't know, I just got this revelation just a moment ago when you mentioned it. My fear came through my family. You know, as a kid growing up, you know, that's where I think it first originates. And the reason why I said that, because I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, 3-year-old at home, guard kids. And one, she has no fear.
Yeah.
The other one, she cries all the time. And I'm looking at them going like, why is this child here? You just have to say, Michaela, step back, don't do that, don't do that. Because she's on it. And I'm going like, wow, it dawned on me about me. Yeah, I was raised in a household of females. So they were insecure, they didn't have love, and then therefore they passed it on to me. And even to this day, I'm still having a little problem with certain fears when situation comes about. As long as no situation, I don't have a problem. Soon as a decent situation shows up, then I start shaking. I say, what's your problem? That's why I have to tell, what is your problem? Pay attention. Get objective, stand back.
Real good point.
Pay
man.
attention.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I think. Then you probably can go to God, He helps you go walk your way through it. You know, that's about it.
Okay. Real good point. I saw this hand first. Yes, sir. You think your fear came from having doubt in God too?
Well, the reason I raised my hand is I recognize maybe to a fault that we are born with a certain amount of fear to protect ourselves in situations where fear would protect us. I mean, for instance, if you know you're walking along and you run into a pack of lions, you're going to be scared because they're going to eat you if you don't do something.
And so your first instinct is to run.
Well, it's to get out of there somehow,
Okay.
yeah. And so fear protects us in certain situations. Misplaced fear is very harmful, I think. When you hear the answers in the room here, there's some answers that people are fearful for revealing the fact that they have fear because they don't want to look bad.
Okay.
I mean, there's just a whole bunch of misplaced fear, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I mean,
Did you have your hand, Martin?
No.
You have fear?
All my fears are just nothing. They're all lies. They're just when I'm too close to all my, to the thoughts. I noticed that when I realize that I'm too close to my thoughts, my fears, all these thoughts that try to make me fearful, just they don't have the same effect anymore.
Yeah.
And so, no, I don't really have any.
Yes, ma'am.
So does your conscience, I guess I hung up on consciences. I have a lot of guilt and stuff for not speaking up over the years. But I remember when I was little, I stole a jawbreaker one time.
You stole something?
I stole a jawbreaker. I was like 5 or something.
And now what do? Rob banks?
But what I was going to say is, I remember when I left the store, I was waiting for God to strike me dead. I thought it would happen, and nothing happened.
Right.
But, it was a terrible, I never forget that, when I stole that jawbreaker, and nothing happened. I really was sure that, that's how they said in the Bible.
Did you have your hand?
Yeah, well, trauma is also a great source of fear.
How do you know that?
Especially when you are a child and you're
How do you know that trauma is a great source of fear?
well, let me explain. And you are either raped or you are terribly mistreated, physically assaulted.
So
or whatever.
because of time, where did your fear come from of height?
I wish I would know.
Oh, okay. Do you have fear of the back?
Me?
Yes, sir.
Fear of the unexpected, and
What do you mean by that?
if I'm told at the last moment, oh, you have to do this right now, I kind of break down.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, like if they tell me you have to do this right away or else this will happen tomorrow or this and that, then
So
I
you
kind
feel
of
the
freeze.
pressure of having to do it now,
Mhm.
and then, so do you think, where did that come from, you think?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Just, when something happens at the last moment that I have to do this, oh, you have to, something happened all of a sudden, everything is going well, then something goes awry, and sometimes when they tell me you have to be responsible over someone else, I don't care about being responsible for me, but if I have to be responsible for other people or other things, then
You become afraid.
and then I become afraid, and it even angers me.
Really?
Yeah.
How about you, sir? You have fear?
Fear. I think fear is like almost a regular, is like a part.
Do you have it?
Fear at times, yeah.
You do? Of what?
Fear of loss, fear of death, fear of failure, fear of everything.
Fear of loss?
This is the world. The world is a dangerous place with a lot of bad people.
Are you afraid of them?
It's a dangerous place.
Are you afraid of them?
I guess so. I don't like it. I don't like the world. I don't think it's a good place.
You don't like the world?
Anything could happen.
When you say fear of loss, what do you mean?
Well, you could lose all your money. You could get sick and die.
Yeah, white people love their money. You want to mess with a white person? Take their money.
Yeah.
That's why white.
Yeah, we don't have any to worry about.
That's right. You notice that we're not suffering through the economic crisis. We're just,
Yeah, we grew up like that.
we're already poor, so we're not missing anything. White folks are tripping out. No, I'm kidding.
So when you're a little kid, you're not afraid, okay? For a little while, you're 2, 3 years old and you don't know about anything, everything's good.
Yeah.
You're not afraid, but then slowly you start to see what happens to your parents. Your parents start out nice and young and happy and everything's going good. Time goes on, things deteriorate, your family deteriorates, your parents start fighting. Everyone gets sick. Everyone starts dying and getting sick. It doesn't
Yeah,
look good.
that's enough to scare you.
Yeah.
Robert, are you afraid of losing your money?
Same thing.
Yeah.
You are. Yeah, I told you, white people love money. You guys must hate Obama, huh? Anyway, Mary, turn to Timothy, 2 Timothy 7, 1 and read verse 7 for me. I want to tell you something about fear. Time is going by here. Oh, Patrick, you had your hand while you looking for
Yeah, I just want to say something quick. there's fear of, thought fear of things that come up and things that hold you back. But, there's also like raw, naked, shivering in your boots kind of fear that I've noticed in my life has come up at times. And I often wondered, something like that is so powerful, it almost has to be installed in you somehow. It's not like just some thought or something and it scared you. It seems like it's something that's so deep that something was put there somewhere at some time before you were really aware, or, you know what I'm talking about? Maybe not. No, there's just times where that kind of stuff goes on. And
I understand what you're
it's
saying.
gotta be kind of.
Some people have it really bad. I know people who have such fear that they can barely leave their home. They can barely be in the presence of other people, because of fear.
I mean, I've had fear where something is triggered and my body will literally be shaking.
Yeah.
I mean, if something's going on, I don't, I didn't necessarily know where it came from.
Okay. Amazing. 2 Timothy 1, chapter 1, verse 7.
For God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline.
And in my Bible it says that of love, of power, love, and sound mind. Sound mind. I like that better. Because if you have a sound mind, then you gotta.
Why would her Bible say one thing and yours say something else?
Because every time people write the Bible, they change it.
I swear to God.
Yeah, and that's why
I don't read it.
That's why our faith should not be in the Bible, but in God.
Yeah.
Because people always change in the Bible.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there's a Bible out now that says, "Our Father and Mother who art in heaven." So our faith should be in God. But let me do this because of time. God did not give you a spirit of fear. And the key word is, it is a spirit that has made a home inside of you. It's an identity that lives inside of you, and it controls you. It tells you how to think, how to act, how to feel, what to do and what not to do. It's a living being inside of you. It is a spirit. And and I think Richard made the point that it starts in childhood. Most people are not born with fear. They're not born with fear at all. And you see that in kids. They're not afraid of anything. They're learning, they're discovering, they're asking questions. They're not afraid of their parents. They can ask their parents anything, and they can pretty much just ask what they want to know. If something's wrong with you, they check you out and ask, where did this come from? Where did that come from? Where you get this mold from? Where did that mold come from? I hate for my grandkids to be near me now. They're checking you out, like, Grandpa, why you got a beard? Why this? Just every little thing. And so they're not afraid because they don't have the spirit of fear. The spirit of fear, for the most part, exceptions to the rule, come from resenting. The moment you start to resent your parents, because most parents are already angry and out of control. They've been messed up by their parents. And so it goes on from generation to generation. And the moment that your parents show a lack of patience with you, whether they're yelling at you or putting pressure on you or prevent you from speaking up, then you started to resent that because it goes against your natural nature. It goes against who you really are. And so you start to resent your parents. And most of the time it's the mother, because the mother she's closer to you. And not all, but most women are very insecure. They're afraid, they have doubt, they have fear, they have worries, they have insecurity. So they push that off on their kids. And in some cases their husbands, because they think, in their mind, they think that if they can get the world to do what they want it to do, then they're going to feel better. And it's just not true. So they impose themselves on you. And then you start to resent them and become like them. You fall away from innocent, being not afraid of anything, and you wake up to fear. Now you're afraid of your mother, you're afraid of your daddy, you're afraid of everything. Because when you become resentful like that, you open your mind up so that lies and deceit can come in, and the spirit of that start directing your life. It sounds like your voice. It can sound like mama's voice or daddy's voice, whomever you resent. And that starts to control your life. This thing has made a home in you because you resent it at a time when you're very small and couldn't help yourself. Because we're subject to our parents. And our parents, most parents are messed up because they don't understand how to overcome that spirit that has made a home inside of them. It is a spirit. It's not, God gave us the authority to have power and have love and have a sound mind. And when you're an angry person, you don't have a sound mind. Not one angry person walking this earth have a sound mind. And some are more extreme than others, but they still don't have a sound mind. They don't know what the truth is anymore. Like this thing when you guys were saying, well, I have fear because I don't have faith in God. That's not true. It is true, but that's not true. And so the preachers have taught you all of this stuff. You read the Bible, and even in your state of fear, which is ego, which is pride, which is the nature of the devil that separate you from God. So even in that, everything you read and everything you do, your mind is defining it for you and telling you that this is what it is. And then you find somebody else to confirm that. You hear other stories, or your preacher would tell you. I heard a preacher say yesterday that fear is natural, that it's good sometimes to have fear. It is never good to have fear. Anyone with fear is a weak person. They're afraid. God doesn't want you to be afraid of anything. Forrest gave the example of, well, I think it's nice that you're born with some fear because when you're in the lion's den, you got sense enough to run. When you don't have fear, you have another source. You have a higher level of consciousness. The Bible says that you have the mind of God. And then when you have the mind of God, you have the ability to stand still and not react. And that's where true power comes from. And in that state of mind, you see what to do. You clearly see what to do. I mean, we have control over animals in the world anyway, but because you have anger and you have fear, you don't realize that. It is never good to have fear. It's not of God, it's of your father, the devil, and it comes from hating. It comes from resentment. And it's never ever good because you pass it on to others. You're afraid of others. You're afraid to tell people the truth. I mean, if you have fear, you can't even represent God because God said perfect love casts out fear. So if he wanted you to have it, why would he cast it out of you? And so what we need is power and love and a sound mind. And when you are born again of God, that's what you develop. I have no fear. Now I had fear before he caused me to forgive. You got to forgive. You got to forgive your parents first. They did the best they could do, but it was wrong. They couldn't help themselves. And when you forgive them, God will forgive you. And he will bring you into another, he said that he'll bring you into another state of being. He said that we should have one mind, and that mind is his mind. And a person with fear don't have the mind of God. You never should have fear about anything. And when you forgive, when you learn to sit still, when you learn to calm down and stop racing with your imagination and calm down, then God is going to separate you from the darkness of your imagination. He's going to cause you to forgive your parents first. And when you forgive them, God will forgive you. Then you can move on in life without fear. Christ had no fear. He was our perfect example. And he had to deal with much more than what we have to deal with. And he's not even asking us for blood. He just asked us to speak up in love. But had he had fear, he could not have impressed the world in the way that he did. A person with fear don't impress anyone. People don't even like you when you have fear. If you're married, your wife hates you when you're a man with fear. And then the man hates his wife because he can never bring in any logic. She's afraid to do it. And she put a pressure on her children, recreating them in her image. That's of the devil. It's not of God. And so here are the steps to get in there. You got to admit that you have it. You got to accept it for what it is. Do not deny it at all. Most people cannot accept reality of what they are. And as a result of not accepting who you are, you're constantly trying to change who you are. And every time you try to change who you are, you only get worse. Have you noticed that? There's not one person walking this earth who can change themselves. So don't let any psychologist or psychiatrist or preacher or counselor tell you that you can change yourself. You got to accept yourself, but don't hate yourself. If you're a coward, I'm a coward. But don't be mad about being a coward. Recognize it, because when you can accept what it is, you come out of denial, like Adam denied. Remember that? Yes. God like, Adam, what have you done? It wasn't me, it was the woman. If Adam had just said, I'm sorry, I was wrong, then we wouldn't be going through this today. At least the men would. The women had to go through it by themselves. But the moment you deny who you are, this thing that's made a home in you, you give it life. It separates you from God to be your own God. So the first step is you got to know that you have it, and don't be angry about it, because anger is denial too, judging yourself. You're playing God. You just got to see it, and you got to feel the pain of it. You mentioned pain. You got to feel the pain of being afraid, but don't do anything about it. Don't drink any Kool-Aid or, have a bowl of ice cream, or just take it. Watch it and take it. Then God can come in and rebuke it. You got to forgive. This is why he said, know thyself. Know yourself. Most people do not know themselves. They're afraid to look at self, not realizing that denying self is what keeping you from being born again, from giving you a new nature. You got to know yourself and then accept who you are. And you're going to know that it's wrong to be that way. Just by accepting yourself, you're going to know it's wrong. You don't have to judge yourself. Don't hate yourself, because when you hate, you separate from God. But just know yourself. And that's why when you come here, I don't like to just preach at you, because I'm always checking myself out. And I don't have anyone telling me. I have to check my own self out, be true to myself, and realize that I can't change myself. And I saw that it was the Spirit that had made a home in me. Paul said that. And so he said that I realized that, I couldn't do anything about it. So I just accepted it. And that's when God would come in and change you. But it's a Spirit that has made a home, and he works through your mind, and he lives off of your anger. You're judging yourself and other people. It makes you feel ashamed. It makes you feel less than, and causes you, a person with, I think Mary mentioned that she feels like she's going to fail. Look at the white people. They got money, they still scared. Look at Michael Jackson, loaded with money. He had all the fame and the money that you can possibly have, apparently, and yet he had fear. He couldn't face people. He had to live off drugs. That stuff, it's best to lose all that stuff than to lose your soul. So you gotta the steps are accepting who you are, not denying it, not being mad, and then you gotta forgive. You're not gonna enter into the kingdom of heaven until you can forgive your fellow man. You gotta forgive them, because you're judging, you're playing God, and there's only one God. So you gotta forgive. That's what I had to do. I saw that I had this resentment. He caused me to forgive and allowed me to enter in. As my whole world changed. I have no resentment toward anybody. And I deal with a lot of things. But I had to forgive my mother first, who was being out of control. She had a lot of fear. She hated my dad. So she tried to turn us away from the Father. And I resented that from her. As a kid, you don't think about that you resent your mother. And then when you get older, she puts so much guilt on you, you don't even want to admit you resent mama. Because mama is God. And how you going to tell God you hate her? So it's like this blockage there. I'm sorry?
It's easier to tell God above you hate him.
Than to tell your mama. Especially the black community. In the black community, the black woman is God. And that's why all hell has broken loose. There's nothing good there. But you got to face it. You got to forgive. And the way you forgive is that God will cause you to realize that the person that you hate or the people that you hate are just like you, that they couldn't help themselves. You do things to people that you don't want to do, you wish you didn't do, because it's not you, it's something else driving you. So if you could get to know yourself, it's going to help you realize that about the people that you hate, and that's what will cause you to forgive them. because it's a spirit, and it's just going to bring you out of denial and set you free. God will do it, but you got to come out of denial. You got to stop fighting. You got to know you have hatred in your heart and let it go. He will take it away, and then you can have a life. But he has not given you a spirit of fear that comes from hating. It comes from you judging at such a young age when you don't realize you're going to handle the pressure. And then once you become of age, you start to know yourself. And that's when you go to the Father. By seeing yourself, you go to the Father, and he will cause you to repent. I promise you, in that I can't give it to you, but I promise you, when you forgive, you're going to enter into the kingdom of heaven, and you can have peace and live your life. And that's why you don't really see people today with this power and love and a sound mind, because everybody and their mama have fear. And then they justify the fear. Well, I have fear because I don't have faith. I have fear because I have this, and I have fear because it's safe to have fear. It's never safe to have fear. Fear keeps you in a state of unconsciousness. And your enemy can overtake you just like that. You can have fear and a lion will walk upon you and eat you up because you didn't see him coming. But with no fear, you are aware of your surroundings because you have a sound mind. You see from the heart instead of from the mind. So you got to do that, folks, if you want to be free. It's not of God. And you got to examine yourselves and be honest about your hatred, your anger, so he can come in and clean you up. It's just that simple. You got to learn to be still and know God. He's not in this race that you're in. He's not in judging other folks and yourself. He's not even in the Bible. The Bible is just a book of letters that people wrote and put together. It's like a roadmap. The kingdom of heaven is inside of us. And we talked about how the Bible is being changed all the time. That's why God wrote the truth upon our hearts, because the people can't change your heart unless you start to hate. Then the heart is changed. But if you don't hate, the truth is in our heart. Because the letters in the Bible, her Bible has something different than my Bible. It's in our heart, but you're not going to connect to it until you can forgive. A person who don't forgive play God, separated from the true God. And so how is God going to let you into the kingdom of heaven when you think that you are God? By judging the other, being impatient. So I advise you to be still, just calm down. When you pray, don't go into your prayer closet hooping and hollering and please Lord and bless my mama, give me a house. You don't have to do all. Just calm down and be still. He will become your Father. He will save you, and life will begin. It is just that simple. The more you let go, the closer you draw to Him. And you're going to see that all the things that you thought were wrong, everything you've been taught were wrong. Patrick was telling me the other day, he's like, Jesse, I noticed that the more I sit still and pray, the more I realize that it's not about religion. Christianity is not about what I thought it was about. It's nothing like what I thought. And he's so right about that. The more you calm down and come out of your head, out of your imagination, you're going to see you've been lied to. And that's why life is so tough. Life is simple. And you don't have any control over it. But when you are a person of fear, you think you have control, and you don't. It's a setup. All right?
Yes, sir.
So I encourage you guys and ladies, you got to calm down, admit that you have this stuff, but don't do anything else about it. When you pray, just be still, sit quietly, and God will come in and He'll save you from it. It's just, our whole life is spiritual. Everything we do is spiritual. And of our stuff, we can do nothing. It's only people with fear who think that they could do something because they think that they're God. And they don't walk around saying, I'm God. But in their mind, in their action, they are saying that I'm God. Yeah, I can change it. You can't change it. If you can change it, you already would have changed it. It would be done already. Nobody want to suffer. But you can't change it. Yes, Pat?
There's a relationship that the Bible talks about between anger and fear.
Yes.
You were mentioning it. I look at it for a clue, but to be honest, I've never seen the relationship.
Yeah.
How did you see I mean, do you know this from God telling you this, or have you seen it in your life, the relationship between anger and fear?
When God, I used to be very insecure, had a lot of fears and doubts and worries, didn't know my purpose in life, went to church. I have a Bible, this is not the one, but I have a Bible when I used to go to a different church. It has all kind of colors in it. You know how you mark, they tell you to mark and read it, quote it, and all that kind of stuff. And nothing happened. I was still angry, I still had doubt. Then I heard a preacher say, when you pray, just be quiet. Let the truth, be still and know God. So I went home that night, I sat still, and all of a sudden he caused me to realize that I had this resentment. And when you have hatred, because resentment is hatred, the fruits of hatred, the fruits of resentment is fear and doubt and worry, insecurity. That's the fruits of it. But perfect love is long-suffering, patience, insight. So when you have that resentment, you'll see it. But when you let that resentment go by forgiving, all of those things are going to fall away too. If the anger is connected to the resentment. You're mad at yourself because you're not good enough. You're mad at somebody else because they're not doing what you want them to do. Or you judge them as not being good enough. Did that answer the question?
So I can't see the relationship yet because I still have the anger which blocks me from seeing the relationship?
Yeah. Well, the reason you don't see the relationship between anger, did you say anger and fear, right?
Yeah.
It's because you have the resentment.
Right.
And so it looks natural to me because those are the children of resentment. Anger, doubt, fear, and all that. So it seems normal.
Right.
Because people who are angry are blind people. And so these things seem normal. Then they go and pay a professional to tell them that this is normal. It is normal to be that way. But when you drop the resentment and then all these things passes away, you're like, wow.
Right.
It's a totally different reality.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is indeed.
I can't take it.
I
only have 30 seconds.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I want to invite you to go to my website at bondinfo.org. And when you pray, just go in your room privately and just be quiet. Relax, close your eyes, sit there and be quiet. And just let the truth. Your mind going to be racing, which is the mind of the devil, but let it pass. We need your support. Go to church at bondinfo.org, church at bondinfo.org, or call 1-800-411-BOND. Thank you so much. And thank you guys.
For more information or to purchase a copy of this show, visit us on the web at www.bondinfo.org or call 1-800-411-BOND.